This is a video on your practice for Oracle Data Modeler. So first of all, we need to go to ND2L, Course Resources, as we see in the screen, and notice it says Oracle iLearning Platform. You would select that like we mentioned last week, but instead of starting off with section 0 and going forward, we're going right to section 4 because we need to do a practice session. And when we select that, you're going to get this screen, which has an overview of our practice using Oracle SQL Developer Data Modeler. Henceforth, I'll just say Data Modeler. We're going to build entity relationship diagrams as a practice. Here is where you would go, follow this link to download Oracle Data Modeler, and you will pick the appropriate install download for your operating system that you are using. So if you have a Java development kit included, you pick this one on a Windows 64-bit environment. Else, if you already have Java at your machine, which says that JDK 8 or above is required, you would download this one. If you have a Mac or a Linux machine, you can go to the other ones. Now, when you follow this link, when you download this, you will put that on a local hard drive. You could put it on an external hard drive if you wish to move it around. But wherever you install it, you will then bring up Oracle Data Modeler that has this icon, an icon that you will see in your taskbar, and Oracle Data Modeler comes up. So here's an example of Oracle Data Modeler. And so you need to do a few things to set it up to begin with. I have other instructions for your practice in D2L that you can follow. So this is just a cursory little overview. Notice there are no tool icons here, which you will see in a minute underneath the menu items. But what you need to do is you need to right-click Logical Data Model here and then select Show. Now when we select Show, watch what happens up here and watch what happens over here in the tab area. You will find that you will have your icons set up when you select Show. So we're having a little performance problem because of maybe, there it goes, those are the icons, and you get this tab. Of which case, another video or the instructions in D2L, when you go to Oracle iLearning Platform, it will show you, along with my D2L instructions, in the assignment. So that's where I'll take you next. But real quick, you also need to go to a blank area in here and either select, these are the two areas you're going to go to, layout and notation. Notation and show. I've got layout set up. Notation, you will either go between Barker and information engineering. Notice we don't have anything in our diagram just yet to show the differences. And there's one more thing that you would need to do. You need to go to show and select labels. Okay, so that when you quickly create something, notice if I hover over that, it'll say new entity. This is just a quick little treatise on how to do it. In fact, I'll just wait on that since we're having a little performance issues here. And so you'll get an entity properties box. Notice it says entity 1, and so you can have that entity. You can then create entity 2. Let's actually do this. And then I'm double clicking saying entity 3. And now you can go back, double click within each and every one of those and go to the attributes area and create new attributes like so. Notice I can say primary key. I'd like to say logical for the data type, and then the source I could say what exact data type I want, and size. So let's say that that's a size 7 character, and I'll say OK, just to give you a quick example. And I could do the same with these, and you can create many attributes here. No, I'll call this attribute 2, logical, and this one I'll say this one's a date, and I could create another one. I could go back to this one. I want to say that that's the primary unique identifier. I can go here and then give a description of how I want the data type to be. Let's say I want a decimal, a number, and I'll give it a precision of 3 and a scale of 2. You'll find out about this more. I'll make this one, I could either pick whether it's mandatory or not. I'll say it is. I'll say OK, and then I'll pick this one. I'll create quickly a primary unique identifier. This is my third attribute or fourth, whatever it is. Of course, I might call it something like prof ID or something obviously more mnemonic and meaningful. So I could say whether I want this to be a character, maybe I want this to be character length 4, and I want to make it a primary key. So there we have that. And let's say I can go back and I want to maybe make this a college ID. So I can come up here and say col ID and so forth. So you can you are going to go through iLearning to learn how to do this. And this would be an assignment that you drop in. Let's do one more thing. Let's create 2 one-to-manys. So I notice if I hover over this, it'll tell us new one-to-many relation. This is identifying, but I picked the one that's not. So I'll click on one, click on the other, and I'll quickly say OK. And then I'll do the same thing, but this time I'll use the other one. I'll use the one that says identifying. I'll go from here to here, and I'll say, notice it says identifying here where the other one didn't, by the way, and I'll say OK. Now notice when I click, I'll have to see which notation I left it in. Right now I have it in information engineering. That is the first one I'd like you to see. And so there we have a quick one. If I go and show you the difference and I change it to Barker notation, you can see that I can go back and forth between the notations. Okay? Real quick, if I label this like, if I right click the relationship, go to properties, and I might want to give it a name. Name on source, employees, college employees, professors. Yeah, that's what I'd like to say. Notice there's my label. If I didn't show labels, it wouldn't show up. So make sure you have that set, or when you create them, the label is really there, but it's not showing up. So you'd want to make sure you've got that set. Okay, your instructions will tell you that, and that quickly shows you the difference also between the 2 notations. If I go back to information engineering, by the way, this quickly says that college entity 1, college ID entity 2. Now, by the way, if I go back here and I changed the attribute, but I didn't change the entity name, so maybe I'd want to call this college, for example, and this maybe I'd want to call prof, for example. Anyway, you can see this. What this says is a college can have at most many professors and at least 0. So it does not have to have a professor. Maybe the college just started and they didn't hire any professors yet. A professor has to be employed by one college and at most one college. That's what this means. And this dashed versus a solid line means something that you'll learn about later. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so then I could save it and so forth. I could also print a diagram to an image file so I can have this same exact thing show up as a JPEG file. And I'll be asking you to submit. Instead of saving, that's how you would do it. So lastly, and you could rerun this video over and over if you'd like, but that's why I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. And lastly, I'll show you in D2L where you would operate and accomplish this. Notice in course information and resources, start here. In this area, you will notice that I have a sports data model diagram practice subset, information engineering notation, which your class textbook follows. Oracle iLearning uses Barker notation for your crow's foot notation instead of information engineering, which your textbook uses. I want you to be well versed in both, so that's what two perspectives are. One in Oracle iLearning being Barker, one from your class textbook being information engineering notation. So if we open that up, you will see for your practice, uh, you only have 3 entities and 3 relationships. There's another relationship that's what we call a recursive relationship. So sales representatives can supervise other sales representatives, whereas a team can only have one customer, a customer only has one team, but a sales rep can have many customers. That's the crow's foot as opposed to a single line information engineering notation. This is what you'll learn in due time, but you're going to use Oracle Data Modeler to complete this. So I'm showing you a diagram from the information engineering notation, and I'll also show you the diagram here in D2L. So you got to get well versed on what is in here in D2L for you as an online student. So here's the Barker notation, and it's the same exact thing, only showing you a different notation. And notice they still have the crow's foot, but the other minimum cardinalities and the connectivities are different, and so forth and so on. So we'll talk about that later. And lastly, what you need to do is make sure you go into your assignment folder. So in your assignments area, you will see that here is your assignment folder that you drop it in. And so if we open that up, you will see your description. I have a talking lecture equivalent to this, not equivalent to this exactly, but this is explaining how you're going to work on your logical data model, and then actual text verbiage to explain exactly what you do in this practice from A to B, and then at the end how you save your work, including the image, and submit it to the D2L assignment folder. So hopefully that will help, and you can rerun this video anytime you want.